80 years ago, in the final desperate days of the Second World War, the course of human history was forever altered. On the morning of August 6, 1945, a clear sky hung over the city of Hiroshima. An American B-29 bomber, the Enola Gay, flew high above, carrying a weapon of unprecedented power. At 8:15 a.m., it released its payload, a uranium-based atomic bomb nicknamed Little Boy. The bomb detonated with a blinding flash of light and a force equivalent to 15,000 tons of TNT, unleashing a destructive energy that the world had never before witnessed. In a single moment, the familiar cityscape was erased, replaced by a scene of utter devastation and unimaginable suffering that would echo through the decades. The immediate impact on Hiroshima was catastrophic, a true vision of hell brought to Earth. The explosion generated an immense fireball, with temperatures reaching millions of degrees Celsius at its core. This intense heat vaporized people near the hypercenter, leaving only their shadows etched onto stone and pavement. A powerful shockwave followed, flattening nearly everything within a 1-mile radius. It is estimated that around 70% of Hiroshima's buildings were obliterated. Tens of thousands of people, men, women, and children, were killed instantly, their lives extinguished before they could even comprehend what had happened. The city was engulfed in a firestorm that raged for hours, consuming what little remained. Just 3 days later, on August 9, 1945, this terrible history repeated itself. The target this time was the city of Nagasaki, a vital port and industrial center. A second American B-29 bomber carried a plutonium-based bomb, Fat Man, which was even more powerful than the one used on Hiroshima. Due to cloud cover, the bomb missed its intended target, detonating over the Urakami Valley. This geographical feature contained some of the city's industry, but also sheltered other parts from the full force of the blast. Even so, the destruction was immense, and the loss of life was staggering, with an estimated 40,000 people perishing in the initial explosion. The combined death toll from these two attacks is a somber testament to their destructive scale. In Hiroshima, the initial 80,000 deaths grew to an estimated 140,000 by the end of 1945, as people succumbed to horrific burns, severe injuries from collapsing buildings, and the mysterious effects of radiation sickness. In Nagasaki, the initial count of 40,000 dead also climbed steadily, reaching at least 70,000 by the year's end. These were not just numbers, but entire families, neighborhoods, and generations wiped out in an instant, leaving behind a profound silence where vibrant communities once thrived. The world had entered the nuclear age with a terrifying display of its power. For those who survived the initial blasts, a new and insidious ordeal began. They came to be known as the hibakusha, which translates to explosion-affected people. In the days and weeks that followed, they faced a nightmarish landscape filled with the dead and dying, desperately searching for loved ones amidst the ruins. Many suffered from severe burns that covered their bodies, while others were wounded by flying glass and debris. But a far more sinister enemy was at work, an invisible poison. The bombs had released massive amounts of radiation, which contaminated the ground, the air, and the black rain that fell upon the cities, poisoning everything it touched. The long-term health consequences for the hibakusha were devastating and marked their lives with constant uncertainty and fear. They began to suffer from a range of illnesses, collectively known as radiation sickness, which included symptoms like hair loss, fever, and internal bleeding. Over the following years and decades, survivors faced a significantly higher risk of developing various forms of cancer, especially leukemia and thyroid cancer. The Atomic Bomb Casualty Commission, later renamed the Radiation Effects Research Foundation, began a long-term study in 1947, tracking over 120,000 survivors to understand these effects, providing invaluable but grim data on radiation's impact on the human body. Beyond the physical ailments, the psychological trauma endured by the hibakusha was profound and lifelong. They were haunted by the memories of what they had witnessed, the flash of light, the thunderous roar, and the horrific sights of death and suffering that surrounded them. Many survivors carried a heavy burden of guilt, endlessly questioning why they had lived while so many others, including their own family members and friends, had perished. This deep emotional and mental anguish was a constant companion, an invisible scar that never fully healed, and was passed down through stories and memories to younger generations. The hibakusha also faced social discrimination in the years after the war. Fear and misinformation about radiation led many people to believe that the survivors' illnesses were contagious, or that they could pass genetic defects to their children. This stigma made it difficult for them to find work, to marry, or to be fully accepted back into society. In response to their plight, the Japanese government eventually passed laws providing them with special medical care and allowances. Despite these hardships, the Hibakusha transformed their suffering into a powerful call for peace, becoming the world's most credible advocates for the total abolition of nuclear weapons. The task of rebuilding Hiroshima and Nagasaki seemed impossible in the aftermath of their near-total annihilation. The cities were vast wastelands of rubble, ash, and twisted metal, their infrastructure completely destroyed. Yet driven by an incredible spirit of resilience, the citizens began the slow and arduous process of clearing the debris and laying the foundations for a new future. With assistance from the national government and a collective determination to overcome their tragedy, plans were drawn up not just to reconstruct what was lost, but to create modern cities that would stand as symbols of recovery and hope for the entire world. Today, 80 years later, Hiroshima is a bustling and prosperous metropolis, with a population of over 1.1 million people. It is a major center for manufacturing and commerce, home to international corporations like the Mazda Motor Corporation. The city boasts a modern transportation system, thriving shopping districts, and contemporary architecture, including the new Edian Peace Wing soccer stadium that opened in 2024. A visitor unaware of its past might see little evidence of the destruction. However, the city was meticulously planned to ensure its history would never be forgotten, with its central parks and memorials serving as a constant solemn reminder. Nagasaki has also risen from its ashes to become a vibrant and beautiful port city. While its reconstruction was shaped by the hilly terrain that had partly shielded it from the bomb, the Urakami district, which bore the brunt of the attack, was completely rebuilt. The city has carefully preserved its unique international heritage, with historic districts and landmarks drawing tourists from around the globe. Like Hiroshima, Nagasaki has woven the memory of its tragic past into its modern identity, creating spaces for reflection and education alongside its lively urban development, proving that life can flourish again even in the most devastated of places. The rebirth of these two cities is a powerful testament to the strength of the human spirit. They did not simply rebuild their homes and industries, they intentionally transformed themselves into international beacons of peace. The very ground that once symbolized the horrors of war now hosts millions of visitors who come to learn and pay their respects. The journey from smoldering ruins to thriving modern urban centers is one of the most remarkable stories of the 20th century, a living legacy that demonstrates a profound commitment to moving forward without ever forgetting the lessons of the past. The ashes of Hiroshima and Nagasaki gave rise to a powerful and enduring global movement for peace and nuclear disarmament. The Hibakusha, having witnessed the ultimate consequences of nuclear warfare, dedicated their lives to ensuring no other city would ever suffer the same fate. Their powerful testimonies, shared in schools, at the United Nations, and in global forums, have given a human face to the abstract horror of atomic weapons. Their organization, Nihon Hidankyo, was even awarded the Nobel Peace Prize in 2024 for its tireless efforts to preserve their accounts and advocate for a world free from nuclear threats. Commemoration is a central part of life in both cities, ensuring that the memory of August 1945 remains vivid. Every year, solemn ceremonies are held on August 6th in Hiroshima and August 9th in Nagasaki. In Hiroshima, the day is marked by the ringing of the peace bell and a moment of silence at 8:15 a.m. Key sites like the Hiroshima Peace Memorial Park, which houses the Peace Memorial Museum and the iconic atomic bomb dome, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, serve as permanent places of remembrance. In 2025, the museum recorded a record 2 million visitors, a testament to the world's enduring interest in these events. The legacy of the bombings extends far beyond Japan, shaping international politics and the global conscience for 80 years. The sheer horror of the attacks established what has come to be known as the nuclear taboo, a strong, unspoken international norm against the use of nuclear weapons in conflict. While the Cold War saw a massive arms race between superpowers, this taboo has held, preventing the world from crossing the nuclear threshold again. The events of 1945 serve as the ultimate cautionary tale, a constant reminder of the catastrophic humanitarian consequences that would follow any future use of such weapons. 80 years on, as we mark this somber anniversary on August 22, 2025, the lessons of Hiroshima and Nagasaki are more relevant than ever. In a world where geopolitical tensions are rising and some nations are once again expanding their nuclear arsenals, the voices of the Hibakusha warn us against complacency. The historical debate over the necessity of the bombings continues, but their legacy is unambiguous. They revealed humanity's capacity for self-destruction. The enduring message from the rebuilt cities is a call to action. A plea for dialogue, diplomacy, and a shared commitment to creating a future where no one ever has to experience the horror of a nuclear dawn.